Merrill stood somebody who's taken 25 years in politics to understand. CIA, the mafia, those Wall Street bastards. Sir? Beast. 19-year-old kid. Just call it a wild animal. Bring it on! Bring it on!
Looks like she's got some parts falling out of her clothes.
They have prohibitive tariffs. Not only are our exports not let in very specifically, but China benefits with at least 10 million jobs from U.S.-China trade.
Nancy used to be a patriot.
You can move your factory south to the border, pay $1 an hour for labor, have no health care, that's the most expensive single element making a car, have no environmental controls, no pollution controls, and no retirement, and you don't care about anything but making money, there will be a giant sucking sound going south.
They called Ross Perot crazy.
President, the Chinese should play by the rules once and for all. But how can we stand by as millions of American workers lose their jobs, as thousands of American companies can't compete fairly? No one seeks political advantage. What we seek, rather, is fairness. Fairness in
What
trade.
happened to Lord Haw
The party that
Haw?
represented workers, the Democrats, immediately recognized the giant sucking sound was bad for workers. But
Whoa, 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 whoa! Put on the brakes, put on the brakes. Welcome, welcome, boys and girls, children of all ages, hoofties, pufties, bung-eyed heifers, right and left-wing wackos, woodchucks and chuckettes, kings and queens of the Northeast Kingdom, to another version of It's News to Us. And, you are watching. Oh, camera 2. You are, thanks, Toddster. You're watching It's News to Us, where Newport told us TV news. What is new? Hill, Neil, Brown, Q, as the locals say. And these are our local representatives. Please feel free to call them and tell them what's on your mind. They love that. I gotta thank you very much for contacting us. Letter for Peter Welch about the microplastics. As we could have put that clip in, but it's almost the anniversary of the Oklahoma City bombing, and I'll mention that story later. Don't let me forget, huh, Todd?
okay.
There's let them know how you feel, and. Trumpster just announced right before I left a 90-day hold on tariffs from all countries except China.
Oh,
okay?
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't been paying attention to the news today.
Yeah, well, he was he's using it as a stick, because for years and years we've been getting screwed, and people have had it, and it's good to see that he's had it too. And but I'll get to the Fugazi money in here. Wall Street is not Main Street, okay? That's all you got to remember. Tax the rich, stop the wars, and that's what we're gonna do here. You watch. And this episode is brought to you by cocaine. That's right. They say that cocaine will make you into a new man. Unfortunately, the first thing the new man wants is more cocaine. And if you see this symbol, you're out for a stroll at your local demonstration. Oh, speaking of which, they had demonstrations, these rent-a-mobs all over the place over the weekend, and there were hardly any few to none Gen Z protesters. They're mostly old baby boomers, and they're all white. There's no minorities, maybe one or two here or there. That was it. It's weird, man. Very weird. It's almost like they're getting paid to play. Oh, and here's some new websites I got for you. Also, a good one is Citizens Against Government Waste. The initials, C against CAGW.org. Open the books, and DOGE. You can keep track of all that the Musketeers are doing, and it's a riot. And openthebooks.com, they're good. And datarepublican.com, that's the outfit where Todd was nice enough to print up like 45 double-sided pages of boondoggles of crap that USAID and all the others were doing, were billing us for. And we're all inclusive here. We can men, women, you're all welcome here. And, I put this one in here. Now they're talking about making new chip factories. Okay, now this is an old fab plant. It's not IBM anymore. They call it Global Foundries. It's over just north of Burlington and Essex Junction. And this is what they can dump into the Winooski River each day, okay? Now, I'm sure that when they build the new chip plants here in the USA, that they'll have some kind of remediation, you know what I mean? Some kind of treatment, but I'm not sure how extensive it will be. Camera one, please, Todd.
Oh yeah, whoops.
Because we all know that the EPA's slogan, and especially now, they're going to lighten up on the regs, but their slogan has always been, and even when they supposedly had tightened rules and regs, their slogan is the solution to pollution is dilution. That's their answer to everything, is to mix it with clean water and it'll be fine, okay? It'll all be fine. Trust me, the environment has been my thing since I was 14 years old, and they're rats. They're dirty rats. They've always been rats. That's why I don't care. I don't care that the EPA has gone down the road feeling bad. They're no. They can suck. That's all I can say about them. That's all I got to say about that. And what was I going to say? Talk about Toster, the federal building.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're coming up on the anniversary, April 19th. It's the anniversary of Concord and Lexington. It's Hitler's birthday. It's the anniversary of the Merrill building, federal building bombing in Oklahoma City, and Waco too. I had some Waco cuts, but if we put in all the cuts we wanted, there'd be nothing but cuts for the whole show. But
there'd be no room for Steve.
Yeah, in the booth we have the big guy, the station general manager and musician. This is his day gig. And geez, Toddster, I remember you were running the Chamber of Commerce, right?
Yeah, way back in like 07 or something like that.
Yeah, and he was a radio personality on the local station Moo 92.
Yeah.
Actually, they actually had local news and stuff like that. I mean, if there was a story breaking or if there was a fire and you had to avoid it, people could actually call the studio and Moo would put it on the air, right?
Yeah, I don't think they do that anymore, but back then, yeah. Yeah,
now it's all canned stuff.
Pretty much, except for the morning, I think.
Yeah, it's, I remember every farmer around here always had a radio out in their barn,
Yeah.
It'd keep the cows in control. So anyways, and he's also a musician, and he does folk on his own. You can, what's your main page, Todd? Facebook?
Todd Pronto. Well, I got toddpronto.com.
Okay, so you got your own website.
Yeah. Yep.
And you do that Coffee with Todd's on Sunday morning on Facebook.
Yes. Yep. And YouTube.
And YouTube too. Cool.
9 a.m. Sunday mornings, live.
All right.
No delay.
Yeah. So how do you keep out the cuss words?
Just try not to swear.
And tell the people that you'll never get to call in again. Damn it.
That's right.
That'll teach you. And he also, all right, you can book Todd for the price of what you pay a DJ. You could book Todd to do a folk or Americana show, or you could have him bring the band, and he's got a kick-ass band, man. They can turn goat whiz to gasoline.
I've never heard that expression before.
Oh, so like the Bruise Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they're available for a nominal fee also. Because let's face it, like most musicians, they play for the fun of playing, you know?
We do, but boy, do people like to try to bargain to get it for free.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, you know,
to be like, it'll be good exposure. I'm like, I was on the radio for like 15 years. People know who I am.
Yeah.
Whether they like me or not, it's a different story, but I don't need to get my name out there.
Yeah, it's not like we're a struggling band looking for a contract.
Yeah.
No, we've done that. We put out a couple of CDs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was another local band that Pegleg used to follow around. Ben Farney's band.
Oh,
Don't Whack Betty or something like that?
Yeah. Don't Call Me Betty or Call Me Betty or...
Don't Call Betty.
Don't Call Betty.
Yeah.
Or Al.
Yeah.
Do.
I think that's his mom. And it's like they get in trouble and you tell them don't call Betty. We're in enough trouble as it is.
Oh, maybe I always thought it was a good name, but I never really thought about the origins of it.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah. Anyways, I dug this out of the archives. It was upstairs. I was looking around and making a nesting box in case my dog decides to have puppies on me.
Yeah.
She'll be ready, you know what I mean? Because they have puppies in the damnedest spots, man. One time, Peaches was sleeping, was it Mac's grandmother, right, Todd?
Yeah.
Mac's grandmother was sleeping on the bed with me, and she kept moving around at like 3 a.m. And so I put my hand down there, and I'm all like, Peaches, just hold still and knock it off. And I felt something wet. I'm all like, what the hell? And I got up, turned on the light, and damn it if the dog wasn't having friggin' puppies. Right there on my bed. So, anyways, this time, in case she's knocked up, you make a little den for them, okay? And what I do is I take this, not a kennel carrier, they're too small. I can put dogs of Jack Russell, so I've got like one of those wire cages that you put a dog in. There's plenty of room, and I put in padding down at the bottom and stuff, washable padding, of course, and then I cover the top with dark blankets, so it makes like a cave, and that's where the mother will instinctively go in there and have her pups, because they want to keep them away from everybody, and if they trust you, they will let you see their babies. And I found this thing. I got excoriated to no end for having this thing printed up when I was Dexter's campaign manager. They reminded me, it's the House, you idiot. It's not Congress, it's the Vermont House of Representatives.
How many did you have printed?
1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, even though I had money, I was still not going to throw it away. And we wound up we wound up getting money from the Progressive Party anyways for signs and bumper stickers and those little round stickers and all that good stuff. And Bernie used to come up and have his pig roast up there. You played at one of them, didn't you?
I did a long time ago when he was first running. The year he was running for Senate.
For Senate, yeah.
That was the one I played. Yep.
Yeah. So I can't remember what year I brought up my sound equipment. I had a disc player and my 75 watt amplifier, and I had a mic stand that was like one of these mics. I had my harmonica mic, a bullet mic, and I had it taped to a metal friggin' lamp post, and somebody was playing. I can't remember if it was you.
It wasn't, because I remember we brought a sound system the year I did it.
Yeah. I'll be damned. But anyways.
That's funny.
Yeah, it must have been, I think it was like a couple of bluegrass people. And they had their own stuff too. But anyways, and when they had a graveside service for Dexter up on North Hill Road, and I was surprised that Bernie didn't show. I don't even think he sent the family a card, for crying out loud. And after all the pig roasts we had at Dexter's, you know.
He must have known, right?
I would think so. I would think Zuckerman, I told Zuckerman about it. I emailed him. It's like, what the hell, Dave? You know? Anthony Polina came up. He was like head of the progs for going way back.
I remember him when I was there. When I did the Bernie roast, Anthony was there. He was running for governor, maybe, I think.
Yeah. He just he never got much traction. He was a real nice guy, but he had all the personality of last year's Bird's Nest. It just didn't carry over well, you know, man. He wasn't telegenic, and he wasn't a real good speechifier, and he couldn't deliver a friggin' stem winder like Bernie does.
Oh yeah.
Oh, man, Bernie's still going at it, man. Yeah. It's like, well, here's your chance, Bernie. You know, what the hell? I don't know what they're bitching about with Trump, man. You get behind him. It's like he's doing all the stuff that Bernie wanted to do 20 years ago. You know, get the Chinese to have a level playing field, bring American industry back. And speaking of which, I have here, I couldn't believe this. I saw this woman on America's the America's Voice channel, or whatever it is, and she had testified before Congress. So I went online, and the news division here at NEK-TV was nice enough to print me up the testimony, and it was great because she kept it short. And her name is Rosemary Gibson. It's the testimony of Rosemary Gibson, senior advisor, the Hastings Center, and author of China RX, Exposing the Risks of America's Dependence on China for Medicine, before the U.S.-China Economic and Security Review Commission, exploring the growing U.S. reliance on China's biotech and pharmaceutical products from July of 2019. Now, this was right before the COVID thing. And you would think that, and what did we learn during the COVID thing? That China stopped sending us personal protective equipment, remember?
Oh, yeah.
They stopped sending us that. They were stockpiling it for themselves. They threatened, one of their military leaders threatened to stop sending us antibiotics. He said, if you don't, stop it, we're not going to send you antibiotics. And it's like, you'd think we would have smartened up then. And But oh no. And that was when I mentioned this before. Peter Navarro, the trade guy, Trump's trade guy, he wanted to get Eastman Kodak, or the Kodak company out in Rochester, New York, to reactivate their plant and start making APIs there, the active pharmaceutical ingredients, because of this crap that's coming from China. Now, listen to this, boys and girls. I won't go through the whole thing, but I'll get the salient points. National health security is at risk. A retired Dutch industry official said, "Now we're afraid that China will do things to deprive us of our medication." India's generic drug industry may perceive as an alternate supplier, but its generic manufacturers depend on China for 80% of the APIs, the active ingredients, the active pharmaceutical ingredients and chemical intermediates essential for production. China will eventually overtake India in generic drug production. Meanwhile, U.S. factories have shut down, causing a loss of tens of thousands of manufacturing jobs to China. The U.S. industrial base and our capacity to make most of our medicines is rapidly collapsing. And this was 6 friggin' years ago. There's no excuse now. And it's going to take a while, okay? We got to be patient, people. This is going to take 2 to 3 years to have a plant. And that was the thing with Peter Navarro when he tried to get Kodak. What did the Kodak CEOs do? They started jiggering and screwing around with the stock price, like they were going to manipulate the stocks and make money off the stock instead of helping out their country by, re-engineering the plant to make pharmaceuticals. The U.S. can no longer make generic antibiotics. The U.S. cannot produce generic for ear infection, strep throat, pneumonia, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Beyond antibiotics, the U.S. industrial base for generics is on the brink of collapse. Generics are 90% of the medications Americans take. Number 3, if China shut the door on exports of medicines and their key ingredients and raw materials, U.S. hospitals, military hospitals, and clinics would cease to function within months, if not days. Now, we learned that, too, during the aftermath of the hurricane, when those plants that made the IV plastic bags for hospitals and clinics shut down from the hurricane. And we were SOL then, too. Presently, the pharma and chem industry's successful request to the trade rep to not impose tariffs on products made in China corroborate that much of the U.S. industrial base and our self-sufficiency has collapsed. Let's see, the request to the rep not to impose tariffs. You see, I'm not saying that the Chinese have, there's Mackie. I'm not saying that the Chinese have bribed these people all over the U.S., but let's face it, the Chinese have bribed these people. I mean, look at Obama. How much did he make? How much you make a year as president? 240,000, Todd?
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah,
240, 250, something.
And he's got multi-million-dollar homes in Washington, D.C., another one on Martha's Vineyard, another one in friggin' Hawaii. You know, how's that happen? How's that happen, boys and girls? And Joe Biden, when he said, he came out and said during the campaign in 2020, "Oh, let me tell you about the Chinese, folks. They're not bad folks, folks." Oh, of course they're not bad, Joe. As Joe and Hunter wound up taking millions from them. 95% of Americans don't trust the medicines made in China. We're becoming like a developing country with our medicine, said a prominent physician. Let's see. 4th, as China gains even more domination in products of generics, consumers, hospitals, and the government will lose control over the price they pay. China will be the price setter, and the U.S. will be the taker. Fifth, at that point, the FDA will have even more difficult time than it does now to inspect and regulate the quality of the medicines, which they don't. That's another thing. People are worried about Bobby Kennedy Jr. shutting down the FDA. Well, you know what? They're not doing their jobs. That's why he's shutting them down. The FDA is supposed to look at these meds and test them to see if they have other crap in them, or if they have the strength they're supposed to be. Where are we? Let's see. As the U.S. loses control over the production and supply, it loses control over the prices. We just said that. Number 6, risk of contaminated and potentially lethal medicines are increasing. The deaths of 246 Americans who were administered the blood thinner heparin in 07 and 08 were reported to be associated with a lethal contaminant that was deliberately placed during the manufacturing process in China for economically motivated reasons. How do you like them apples, boys and girls? They try and cut down or change the formula and on purpose, and they wound up killing 246 Americans. Well, let's see. More recently, millions of Americans were sold blood pressure meds that contained a cancer-causing genotoxic impurity. While many manufacturers have been forced to recall, the most troubling was a manufacturer in China whose blood pressure medicine, valsartan, contained per pill more than 200 times the acceptable interim limit for the carcinogen. Even more concerning is the manufacturer knew its product didn't meet U.S. standards, but sold it anyways to unsuspecting hospitals and patients. In the case of this company, the FDA banned all products from entry into the U.S. Now, you would think with testimony like this, they would be doing something, right? Right?
You would think.
That would be the kick in the butt. And if we had started building the plants in 2019, it takes 3 years to build a plant, get it up and running. By 2019, by 2022, we would have been making our own drugs. Oh no. The FDA can't fix the underlying cause of these threats to national health security. Let's see. It can't fix the underlying cause of the contaminated and lethal meds. It can't fix the penchant of large purchases of generics to pay the cheapest price based on value, which includes quality and uninterrupted supply and health security. The current approach of hammering down on manufacturers on price is the root cause of contaminated and lethal drugs in the supply chain and shortages and unavailability of life-saving meds. Since the early 2000s, hundreds of meds at any point in time are in short supply or unavailable altogether in the U.S. In 2015, the FDA banned 29 products from a manufacturing plant in China. But because concerns about shortages of vital meds, the FDA exempted 15 from its ban, including products to make chemotherapy for kids and adults to treat an AIDS-related cancer. Unbelievable. The FDA can regulate only medicines that large buyers of the generic drugs purchase. It can't dictate what they buy. It can regulate only the meds that the generic drugs buyers purchase. It can't dictate what they buy. The FDA is caught on the regulator's dilemma, whereby it is in the unenviable position of weighing the relative risk of allowing vital but defective meds to remain on the market or exacerbate the shortages. Well, if they made people pay attention to the shortages, then damn it, we might get somewhere, you know? I just can't believe it. I cannot friggin' believe it. Mackie. When are we going, Dad? When are we going? When are we going? Why is Dog Boy cutting down these bushes? Can I pee on the bushes? That's a dog for you. And go up, scratch it, sniff it, whiz on it, and then run away. Okay. Let's see. Procurement of medicines from trustworthy manufacturers based on value, not cheap, is the antidote to threats to national health security. Get away from the race to the bottom. The practice is driving production to China, the only country whose government subsidizes its domestic manufacturers. The only country whose government subsidizes the manufacturers. Poor Spike. Damn, they were good dogs. Unbelievable. I miss the little mutts. Yeah, okay. We're building China's industry while rapidly dismantling U.S. manufacturers. And then the national security risk to the military, combat readiness, force protection. No one in the federal government is responsible for knowing who controls the U.S. supply of medicines. The federal government lacks a locus of responsibility for conducting on-road risk assessments for U.S. supply of meds. There is no point of accountability to take all means necessary to assure an uninterrupted supply by trustworthy manufacturers. Now, you would think that that would be the job of the FDA, right?
Nah.
Wrong. Now, we're supposed to believe, according to Vermont State Police, we're supposed to believe that this guy committed suicide by lying down in the street on a foggy night, and so a truck could come along and squish him, when he had a 9mm pistol and enough morphine to choke a horse. Yeah, people always, this is my backyard, people always commit suicide by laying in the road, right, Todd?
Number one method. Yes.
Yeah, only in Vermont. And then the monkeys came back and broke into his house like 2 or 3 times. You'd think they would take fingerprints or DNA or anything off the busted knife and stuff that the goons left behind. Oh, hell no. It's crazy, man. Then they came back and eventually stole his car. They stole his damn car.
Well, obviously, but there was never any charges or anything?
No. It was an old car, you know.
No, I mean was his death ruled as
suicide?
Suicide, yeah.
Crazy.
Huh.
But what should you expect? They didn't believe me about Chrissy either.
That's right.
Yeah.
That was a little before my time, but I know the story.
Yeah. I tried to tell them, man. And they found literature in the back of her car that she got off the interweb about untraceable poisons. And I told him, I said, she drove that car into a tree, man. I'm telling you, she did. There's no way we could prove it. I said, yeah, there is. You just go up there and lean on her, man. It's like that Edgar Allan Poe story about the telltale heart. You know, if somebody is a hardened serial killer, you can guilt them into a confession fairly easily, man. Anyways, back to the drugs. Medicine should be treated as a strategic asset, similar to oil and other energy supplies and ag commodities such as wheat and corn. You think? Recommendation 1, require a whole-of-government review to assess the nation's vulnerabilities. Okay, recommendation number 2, the National Health Security Strategy. Let's see, industrial should include actions to strengthen U.S. industrial base to assure an uninterrupted supply of generic medicines and ingredients to make them. This is vital for the continuity of day-to-day operations of the nation's hospital, healthcare system, military hospitals, and clinics around the world. Yeah, you think? Recommendation number 3, manufacturers of generics who sell meds to the Department of Defense and VA should be required to disclose whether their products and the active ingredients are sourced from countries that are adversaries or strategic competitors of the United States. Number 4, the DoD and the VA should have the flexibility to procure meds based on value and not the cheapest price. Number 5, Congress should provide funding pilot projects to demonstrate the feasibility of commercial-scale advanced manufacturing technology to produce generic drugs. See, here's the thing, too, and this goes for all manufacturing, not just manufacturing pharmaceuticals, okay? What they did was they went around, went all over the country and disassembled our crappy old factories that we had here. I mean, we're talking old machine tools that were built in the 50s and 40s, and some going back to when they had flat belts and, like primitive stuff, and they got all that crap. If we started building new factories and stuff, right, our manufacturing stuff is going to be brand new and state of the art, right, Todd?
I mean, hopefully.
Yeah, well, you think it's not like we're gonna buy the old crappy stuff back from China and ship it back over here again. No. We'll wind up, either making or buying or getting new machine tools from Europe or make them ourselves. It's not that hard. We have the technology. Recommendation number 6, the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States. Wow, I never heard of these guys. The Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States should review the health security and national security implications of the Chinese ownership. Smithfield Foods, the world's largest pork and hog producer. Pig intestines are the rare earths of medical care for the vital day-to-day functioning of U.S. and civilian and military hospitals. What? They go on about African swine flu. What the hell? Pig intestines are the rare earths of medical care? Oh, this is why. The U.S. and the world depend on China for an estimated 80% of the pig intestines to make heparin, a blood thinner which is ubiquitous in hospitals. I'll be damned. Pig intestines are essential components of the U.S. medical care system. It takes one pig to make a vial of heparin. Oh, you learn something every day, don't you, boys and girls? Now, how many of you knew that, huh? Oh, man. Oh, we got some great counselor stuff. See, remember how I mentioned that Wall Street is not Main Street, and they had mentioned that 35% or more of the stock market is froth and overvalued stocks because they've been pumping. The only way to juice the economy since Joe got selected, Biden got selected, was to print money and shove it into the economy.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. Over the past, since 2020, they've shoved $16 trillion in government spending from 2019 to 2025. And it's just crazy. $4.6 billion for empty government buildings. The CDC paid $230,000 for a solar picnic table. They spent a boatload of money for Ethan Allen recliners that they shipped to Islamabad in Pakistan. I didn't know Ethan Allen made recliners, Toddster.
I did not either.
I'll be damned.
I guess they make everything.
And speaking of cognitive tests, Trump was the only president, the only one to take a cognitive test. 30 of 30 he got a score of. Yeah.
30 of 30?
Yeah, there are 30 questions, I believe. Oh, and 60 Minutes did a thing about the bees dying off. We've been living with this for how long? And I'm a former beekeeper, and I swear to God, it's got something to do with the damn microwave radiation. We've got radiation coming, bombarding everywhere, and I had to deal with that with a internet company after my router crapped out last week. He says, "Do you want? It's your password for your Wi-Fi." I says, "I don't have any Wi-Fi, nor do I want any everywhere." Yeah, they said that the Americans know the price of everything but the value of nothing. Oh, and Charles Grassley issued a report, a 4-year Inspector General's report, found that they, since Biden got elected and opened up the border, there are 448,000 missing minors. 448,000 missing minors. Okay, how many of those kids are being trafficked or slave labor or God knows what else? But, you know, it's okay. Unbelievable. Well, let's see. Unbelievable. Last Wednesday was Liberation Day. Yeah, and this is another thing too. They're complaining about the fact that the Japan won't take our rice, the European Union won't take any of our grains, our corn, and stuff like that, and you wonder why. Well, I hope Bobby Kennedy gets into that, because I'm pretty sure that some of the reason why they're not taking any of our grains and stuff is because they surpass the levels. The levels of pesticides and insecticides are too high. But then again, what made me stop drinking European beer that starts with the letter H, and it's a great beer, but the glyphosate levels, the Roundup levels were off the charts. And it's like, man. And, oh, good grief. You remember the 2009 Obama bailout? After the Obama bailout in 2009, all the gains, economically, all the gains since 2009 have gone to the top 1%. Now, does Bernie say anything about that now that he's a millionaire? And they made it worse with COVID, because people like Phil Scott, our illustrious governor up here in Vermont, they shuttered the little businesses while they allowed the box stores to stay open. How'd that happen? You know, and they shut down restaurants, and they sent out snitches. And the snitches would rat on local businesses. Yet like Mickey D's and all these other places, they were allowed to stay open. Yet you couldn't get a haircut from your local barber. I mean, you know, this was insane. That drove all the gains to the top 1% also. It's nuts. It's just crazy. Oh, yeah. Let's get to the thing here. And this is Kunstler again. He's great. The cluster fluff guy. Thanks, Toadster. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Cluster Fluff Nation, or whatever it is. Yeah, Cluster Fluff Nation. You can see his stuff at jameshowardkunstler@substack.com. The ruckus you hear in the capital markets is the sickening howl of the Fugazi economy meeting its extinction. Fugazi means fake, unreal, dishonest, misaligned to what societies need to thrive. Fugazi means misusing the time value of things that purport to be wealth to multiply fake wealth in the hands of a few at the expense of the many. That would be Wall Street. The pernicious effects of that system are visible all across the ruined landscape of our country, a nation of broken cities, failed towns, and a demoralized populace. Trump apparently aims to convert the expiring Fugazi economy into a production economy. Yikes! Based on making things of value, and perhaps more importantly, of people at all social levels having a meaningful roles in the making and moving of things. The Trump tariffs are the first big step in a process that is generating a whole lot of friction, heat, and ferment. The aim of the tariffs is straightforward: the end of a trade regime that punishes and cripples American production. The response so far is heartening. Many other countries suddenly seek new trade arrangements with the U.S., correctly sensing that Trump means business. This ain't no mud club. This ain't no fooling around. It's even possible that these readjustments will happen so swiftly that the tariff differentials will be awash before summer. Like I said, on the way in here, I heard that Trump is stopping them for 90 days. All 90 days, all countries except for China, and because China's threatened to bone us, and better to have them bone us now and start making stuff as rapidly as possible. Yeah, let's see. This new disposition of things required. Wait a minute. It's even possible these readjustments will wash before us. I mean, everybody will be at least on a firm footing, knowing what the clear new rules say. The new disposition of things required forceful incentives to change entrenched harmful practices. Another angle on this process is the dynamic known as import replacement. It means exactly what it sounds like. Where you used to get stuff from other lands, you now make here. It should be obvious that this can't be accomplished overnight. But the question is, okay, when are you going to start? Part of the answer is we can't afford to put it off any longer. There's an awful lot of stuff, from machine tools to pharmaceuticals to military equipment, that we better start making again, or else slide into a collapse, perhaps even slavery to other powers. The process starts with deploying real capital, as opposed to Fugazi capital, to restart businesses and industries. That'll take money away from hedge funds and other rackets that exist to play games with ever more abstract layers of things that only pretend to represent money. As that occurs, a lot of pretend money will vanish. Don't be too shocked by this. That's what happens when a society bends back toward reality. You start sorting out the real money from the fake money. That's why the price of gold keeps going up. I sense that what Trump and his colleagues knew full well that the tariff play would rattle the markets badly, that these corrections are an unavoidable consequence, are better gotten over as quickly as possible. What else would you expect in a system that has dedicated itself for decades to mispricing the value of just about everything? The snapback is sure to be harsh. The psychopathocracy that drives the global left lost more traction last week in its quest to keep all of its old rackets running. Their foot soldiers in the USA have been defunded effectively by Musk's Doge, starting with the immense network of rackets that were run around the USAID program. The woke NGOs are no more, and the fat paychecks are no longer going out to the nose ring for lunch bunch that came to infest the D.C. Beltway. The nose ring for lunch bunch. Oh, shit. In their satellite offices in Democrat Party-controlled cities. Hence, the feeble turnouts in last week's street actions. The baby boomers have gone especially psychotic. That's why there are so many old folks waving those Soros-made placards in the AstroTurf crowds of the hands-off protests. After an 80-year run of the most mind-blowing comfort and convenience enjoyed by any generation of world history, America's boomers stare into the abyss of their fading Fugazi fortunes as their stock portfolios tank. Kind of too bad. Maybe you shouldn't have gone along for the ride. Maybe you should have cared for your country a little bit more. Oh, and speaking of what, here's your poster boy for that retarded slob rock and roller Neil Young. Did you know he's worth $200 million, Todd?
I didn't, but it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. But thanks. It's Fugazi money.
What did Neil Young do?
I don't know. He's just a slob.
You got about 8 minutes, by the way.
Okay, slob rock and roller Neil Young. Performing in support of the U.S. Intel blob, the COVID-19 vaccine campaign, and the degenerate Democratic Party. Senator Schiff and BlackRock. Neil Young's estimated worth is about $200 million. He could lose 90% of that and still live a life of luxury. In 2022, he inveighed against the COVID vaccine misinformation and promoted the shots. Guess what? He was dead wrong about that, Neil. And now a lot of people are dead and dying because of those vaccines. He has many compadres in showbiz who took the same position against reality. The time is not far off when they will be revealed as disgraceful tools, public vax champions such as Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Oprah Winfrey, Howard Stern, Ryan Reynolds, Lady Gaga. The list is long and discouraging. Meanwhile, they're all out there rallying the woke troops against the golden golem of greatness as the left's leaky lifeboat goes down. Gurgle, gurgle. In the process, they destroyed Hollywood, rock and roll, and comedy. The country will recover from that too. You'll have plenty of opportunity to laugh at them in the years to come as the obituaries roll in. Okay, and last but not least, there's another one. You wouldn't want to be him on that dreadful day. It seems like one of the guys on the Epstein flight logs is named John Roberts. Now, we don't know if it's the Supreme Court justice, but we're thinking it could be. Okay. Let's see. Perhaps history is teaching us today's popular leaders like Trump and Marine Le Pen are not the people's last chance. They're the globalists' last chance. Do you see the pattern? Populist party leaders all over Western Civ getting undone by the law courts. I mentioned this last week, that they're getting rid of people by lawsuits. They're taking them off the ballot so that the people can't vote in their populist candidates. Georgescu in Romania, election canceled. Jair Bolsonaro in Brazil, derailed by Lula's stooge judges with CIA help, and Bernie's help too, because Lula is a friggin' socialist, so he says. Prime Minister Robert Fico of Slovakia shot up with 5 bullets in May of last year. Did you hear about that one?
No.
No, neither did I. Unbelievable. The Alternative for Deutschland party, platformed by the Schulz-Merz ruling junta. Then this week, Marine Le Pen, leading candidate for president of France, defenestrated on Mickey Mouse charges in a Paris court. And of course, since 2015, Trump, hounded relentlessly but not yet overthrown due to sheer pluck and testosterone, the official hated hormone of the left. International lawfare is about the last remaining tool in the globalist kit bag. Remember, as they said, you will own nothing and you will like it. Yeah, this is the new world order from the World Economic Forum. The poster child, of course, was the CIA, DOD, State Department regime change in Ukraine. Okay, billionaires such as George Soros and Reid Hoffman, and the rest of them. The situation in our own country has grown particularly acute with the D.C. and other courts. Yeah, and speaking of which, the Supreme Court came out and swatted down that lower court ruling, and it was 5-4, and it was the men versus the women. Todd, did you see that?
No.
Yeah, they voted 5-4 for Trump. All the women voted for that zombie judge in Washington, and all the men voted for Trump. They said, look, you can't stop the president from doing his Article 3 powers. So anyways, here we go. You can, it turns out that Chief Justice Roberts has been best friends with Lawfield Field Marshal Norm Eisen going back to 2005. Eisen was the special counsel on impeachment number 1 and the chief strategist behind the janky cases against Trump by Letitia James, Alvin Bragg, and Fani Willis. You can bet that Eisen was at least the unofficial strategic advisor and special counsel Jack Smith's prosecutions too, along with Mary McCord and Andrew Wiseman, who come from the Mueller conspiracy. Eisen, McCord, and Wiseman, the 3 Nosferatus of lawfare. Eisen has coordinated most of the current lawsuit action against Trump in the federal courts. They've all reported on Roberts being friends with Eisen. Also turns out that Roberts is a club member of an elite invite-only club for legal poobahs called the Edward Bennett Williams Inn of Court, which is indirectly associated with the Inns of Court network centered in London. Other members of the Bennett Williams Inn of Court include James Boasberg, the one who took the cases against Trump. The odds of that happening are 1,000,000 to 1. Because you're supposed to get a judge picked by random, right? Well, somehow he got picked by both defendants or whatever plaintiffs in the D.C. court. They include Boasberg, Beryl Howell, Amit Mehta, all of the D.C. district, and all involved in current lawfare certs, and Justice Jumanji Jackson Brown. Does it make you a little queasy that Robert's roles presiding over cases coming any day have been designed and propelled by his good pal Norm Eisen? And this is supposedly a picture of Chief Justice Roberts with Ghislaine Maxwell, who is Epstein's female pimp. Yeah.
Oh, that's as far in as I can zoom. Whoops.
Yeah, thanks, Toddster. Oh, yes, one other interesting sidelight. Roberts has been found listed on the flight logs of the Lolita Express, Epstein's supposed party shack for the celebrity elite. Let's see. Anyways, it's possible that Director Kash Patel and his Deputy Director Dan Bongino know the answer to this mystery, since weeks ago they assigned 1,000 agents in the New York City FBI office to sort out the thousands of pages and other articles of evidence from the office had been suppressing for years, until Pam Bondi fired the top 3 agents in New York. James Dennehy, the top agent there, James Dennehy, for withholding it so long. One agent could stop all of this information from coming to light. Imagine that. One FBI agent.
You've only got about 30 seconds left, by the way.
That's insane. Of course, if any referrals are being considered, any grand jury cases being prepared, you wouldn't want that to leak out now, would you? Well, once again, you wasted a perfectly good hour of your life watching this stupid show. Hopefully, we'll see you again next week. Good Lord, inshallah, as the Hebrews say. Good Lord willing, the creek don't rise. So, but until then, get down on your hands and knees in the men-only mosque, sniff the bum of the guy in the man dressed in front of you, head east, and worship the meteorite in Mecca, and go, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Akbar!
Best baby. Well,